become, they just imbibe, and they never think they owe anything back. They never think they owe anything to anyone else. There's a deep problem in America, and it needs to be addressed. You need to solve it. And everyone tends to say, well, it can be solved by education. Well, it can only be if the education is good. And the education in America, frankly, today is rotten. It's rotten from the school system to the college system. You pump out people from colleges who are stupider when they leave than when they went in. Parents remortgage their homes to make their children more reprehensible by sending them away to college for years. You send people away and educate them to hate their country more. You give bursaries to people who will come out the other side of it disdaining the country more than they did when they went in. Something's gone wrong. It's badly, badly wrong. But everything that has gone wrong can be righted. You just have to want to right it.
And you have to say it out loud so you know what it is. I wonder, does it take, as you suggested a second ago, a kind of a decision by a lot of people to stop participating in a system that's destroying them and their families? Why haven't we seen that yet? And are you confident there will come a point where people will peacefully and respectfully, civilly, but still firmly say no, no mas?
It may happen, it may not. I mean, nothing's written, is it? Nothing's inevitable. Everything hinges on brave individuals. Brave individuals. I don't mean famous people or anything like that. I mean brave individuals, brave Americans, brave people who just speak up in their lives. And I think that if enough people did that, something would happen. But you know, good people tend not to organize. It's one of the things I've learned. People with bad ideas are very good at organizing. They're very good at making placards. They're very good at cohering. They're very good at shouting the same banality over and over again. Good people don't do that because they tend to believe that communication matters, that in fact shouting the same thing over and over again is an insult to the listener. It presupposes your listener should be beaten down rather than engaged in a dialogue, in persuasion. So a lot of Americans are just silent because they're not going to organize and have their voice heard in a mass demonstration or a protest. But perhaps more important than that is just how people make their voice heard in their lives. Nothing saddened me more in recent years than hearing from American friends how hard it is just to be at a dinner table with relatives and friends these days. How hard it is to talk now in America. That's my experience. I was in America in many states before the election. I found that Americans couldn't even talk over a dinner table together anymore. I think it was P.J. O'Rourke who said somewhere, you know, everyone always wants to save the world, but no one will help mum do the dishes.
Yeah.
But how about more Americans learned how to speak to each other again, rather than learning how to shout at other people in the street? That'd be a start, wouldn't it?
People are afraid.
They are, but I think that the fear is overstated. My experience always is that people say, oh, I'm worried about saying this thing, I don't know if I should do this. And I've always said, you know, you have two options in your life. One is to say the truth as you see it, and the other is to grow to despise yourself more and more. So if you don't want to despise yourself more...
Can you repeat that? Because I want that to be on refrigerator magnets across the country. Do you know what refrigerator magnets are? I don't know if you have those.
I personally don't have them.
I don't either, but will you just say... That's such a wonderful explanation.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. You either speak the truth as you see it, or you grow to despise yourself. And you can see the result of that in people who hollow themselves out. They become cores of human beings because they never spoke. They never really trusted themselves or the people around them to say things honestly. But being truthful is something that's worth doing. It's worth doing for yourself, and it's worth doing for your society. It's worth saying, I'm not going along with that. All of the history of dissidents in countries that have real oppression problems, all of them have been solved by, or at least on the way to being solved, by just individuals, not famous individuals, but people who became famous because they said no. I'm not going along with the lie. I'm not going to do that. There are some remarkable people all across history, some of whose names are remembered and some of whose names are only remembered in the societies which they're from, but history is filled with people who just said, no, I'm not going along with that. And they turned out to be right, even if they were the one person in the million. But the oddity of this age is that it's not about one person in a million. It's about millions and millions of Americans who know that what is being fed to them is untrue and who still fear speaking. That is a big problem. But it also is clearly an answer. That if it doesn't require people to take many, many leaps forward and do wildly heroic acts of self-immolation. It just requires every American to step up a bit. Just to step up a bit. And if that happened, if everyone just did that small step, being a bit more honest, saying, no, I will not be browbeaten, I will not be intimidated, I will not be told to educate myself by the ill-educated. If everyone did that a bit more, it'd get a bit better.
Where do you...
You know, what Douglas was saying there in terms of the education system, that it starts with education. He's right. Our entire school education system, from elementary school, pre-K, to, middle school, to junior high, high school, and then beyond, is completely rotten. It is completely infested. Even in some of the red state districts, even in some of the flyover country school districts, it has become so rotten, so absolute poisoned with anti-American rhetoric that our children are being bombarded from the earliest of ages into all kinds of things, whether it's political, whether it's, just the hatred of this country, or a new rewritten version of history, or teaching them about, all kinds, sexualization of children in schools. This whole thing we've seen, the transgender movement, queers reading, queers for schools, people dressed as, you've got these drag queens that are coming and reading story hours and just normalizing sexuality and sexual behaviors in terms of school children that have no idea what's going on. And then you pile on top of that American exceptionalism was just a fake. It was a fraud. America is not exceptional. That everything that America has, everything that America has done, everything is, evil, contemptible. The sins have never been washed away and continue to, linger and will continue to be a part of this country. And that's what's happening. So how do you teach that in school? That's why millions of families have said, you know what, screw the education system. We're going to homeschool. And what we need to do is, and it's going to take a long, long time, because the number of university and colleges that are out there right now that are leaning left versus those that are out there that are right. I mean, you could count the number of universities, I think, probably on your hands, maybe just one hand. I mean, Hillsdale College comes to mind, but after that, which one? I mean, even some of the Catholic institutions, the Christian institutions, the Jewish institutions, even some of those have become so perverted in terms of social justice warrior and virtue signaling and everything. And you're looking, really, that's Christian, that Judeo-Christian teaching? Really? Unbelievable. And then when Douglas was talking about the fact that, I think there's another saying, I don't know who it's attributed to, but a man being silent, a man who does nothing is a man who was silent. I mean, the fact of the matter is, if you don't speak up, you will grow bitter. You will feel resentful towards yourself because you say, I should have, why didn't I say something? I should have said something that time. I should have said it. I should have told him no. I should have told him no. I'm not saying that. I'm not listening to that. I'm not thinking that. You're wrong. I won't do it. I refuse to do it. and you walk away, or you don't say anything. And then it festers with you because you're thinking, man, but what is it that's scaring you? What's the worst that can happen? You're already ticked off. You're already pissed off. You already don't like the fact that somebody said something to you that said, you've got to do this. You've got to believe this. You've got to, follow this. You're already inside. You're already upset to begin with. How much more is it going to be to say no to the person? That person gets upset. That's the thing that has to happen, folks. You've got to have the courage of your convictions to tell people enough is effing enough. That's it. I ain't doing it. I'm not listening to you. You can't make me. You can't force me. Screw it. I'm not doing it. I'm not listening to it. It's wrong. It's immoral. It's indecent. And if you do it, you're immoral. You're indecent. You're a fascist. You're a racist. You're a bigot. And just pump it right out, right back at them. That, and like one step forward, collectively, everybody does a little part. It's not going to come, but maybe just say no quietly. Like, no, I ain't doing that. Forget I ain't listening to you. See what happens. Then get more forceful with it. Anyways, folks, this is what we have on tap with you. You're watching the Dr. Nasir Shaikh Show. I'm your host, Dr. Nasir, where I give you my political prescription from my political perspective as to what's happening when everything collides. Douglas Murray, Tucker Carlson, policy, politics, religion, social warrior, social justice, virtue signaling. America is great. Culture, religion, government, everything comes crashing together. Let's get back to the interview with Tucker and Douglas right now.
The courage or the resolve to tell the truth?
Well, several things. I mean, one is I just really don't like lies, and all my life I've just hated it when somebody says you've got to agree to this thing which I know not to be true, and I haven't been very good at agreeing to things that I don't think are true. The other thing is that it's not as bad as people think. I quite often get people saying to me, well, it must be hard for you saying this. I'm not, I have had down moments, but broadly speaking, I've had a great time. I get to say what I think. I annoy all of the right people. I can point at things that are ludicrous and laugh at them. I can laugh at ludicrous people. When people who are clearly ridiculous say, how dare you ridicule me, I think, well, why not? There's nothing I'd rather do. So I think too much emphasis is made on the beleaguerment of people who say what they think and who go against the flow and who go against consensus. I think that's overdone. I think it needs to be stressed. Actually, no. I mean, the water's a lot warmer than you're told. It's not the case that there's this sort of terrible road of suffering which you must go down if you reject the race baiters and you reject the identity politics identitarians and you do all of these things. It's not the case that there's just a veil of suffering. If you go down this road, actually your life will be better. You'll make better friends. You'll meet wonderful people. You'll meet heroic people from an amazing range of backgrounds and identities and much more. You'll be able to enjoy yourself. You'll be able to laugh. You'll be able to tell the truth as you see it. You'll be able to write well. You'll be able to do a whole load of things, whatever you want to do. Your life will be better. If you set off down the road of telling the truth, your life will immeasurably improve and it'll get better and better all the time. And if you say, well, I'm worried about losing these friends, lose those friends. For God's sake, lose them as fast as you can. Drop them. Drop them because they clearly don't want you to do well. They clearly don't want you to do well. The sort of people who say, I have a problem with that. You should have a problem with people who say that. You should want them out. The people who pretend that they know better than you how you should live your life. Get rid of those people. Move on from them. Clear them away. You're going to have a much better time if you do. And the people who say, oh, you've got to educate yourself. Ask them where the capital of any major country is. Just give them a test, you know? Ask them anything. Anything. Ask them if they've ever read a long book. Try them. See if they can spell. Do something like that before agreeing that those people have the right to rearrange your brain and your life. Have some self-respect, America. Come on.
I'll be totally blunt. I was feeling pretty down this morning. It's Monday morning. There's just too much. And that was an answer to prayer, that conversation. That was just one. That was genuinely inspiring. I'm so glad that you came.
It's a great pleasure.
Douglas, thank you.
Thank you.
Tucker.
Was that great advice, or was that great advice? That was great advice. I mean, come on, folks. That was absolutely incredible. That was worth the entire interview right there. Some people say they need to educate yourself. Some people say you better learn this thing. Start giving them a freaking test. Ask them about something. Have some answers. Have some questions that you already know the answers to. Have them ready in your repertoire, in your toolbox, so you can throw them out there and say, okay, really? Have you read a long book? Have you read a short book? Have you ever read anything? Do you know how to read? Ask them those questions. Don't be scared, for crying out loud, people. Don't be scared. Get up there, okay? Go for it. Go for it, go for it, go for it. This is what you got to tell yourself. America is the greatest country that was ever given birth in the history of the world. It's always going to be that way. It always was that way. It will always be that way. And right now, it is that way. There is no other country anywhere else that I would rather be, that I would want my kids to be, that I would want my legacy of my family to continue to be. We are so fortunate. We're second-generation immigrants here. I was born in America. My kids were born over here. And it is by the blessing of God that my parents were able to come here and start a life and allow us to be here instead of back in the old country. That's the amazing thing. That's why people come here. They want to come here by the millions. If this is that type of a country that is racist, bigoted, homophobic, Islamophobic, why are so many people wanting to come here? Christians from other countries, Jews from other countries, Muslims from other countries. Why? Brown people, black people, other white people, mixed races. What? They all want to come here by the millions. By the millions they want to come here. They want to vote with their feet. They want to come here because they know this is the land of opportunity, that this is the country that can give them their dreams. All they need to do is dream it, follow it, and do it. Anyways, folks, we appreciate you taking the time to watch. You've been watching the Dr. Nasir Shaikh Show. I've been your host. My name is Dr. Nasir, and if you haven't done so already, we'd love for you to subscribe to the channel, like, share, and follow us. You all know what to do. Take a look at our video links here and below. My final thought is always, when you're right, and America is right. And when you're left, you're wrong. Until next time, folks, take care and stay safe.